Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel BBTechHub. In the previous video, I have discussed about the TCP/IP settings. And in this TCP/IP settings, we have seen 5 parameters are there. Yes. These parameters are nothing but the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, preferred DNS server and alternate DNS server. Okay. जिसमें से द प्रीवियस वीडियो हमने डिस्कस किया था कि एक आईपी एड्रेस एक सिस्टम को हम कैसे दे सकते हैं और हमने देखा कि आईपी एड्रेस कैन बी असाइंड इन 2 वेज। एक को हमने बोला स्टैटिक, अनदर हमने बोला डायनामिक। व्हाट डू मीन बाय स्टैटिक? स्टैटिक मीन्स जो आईपी एड्रेस को एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर ने मैनुअली खुद असाइन करते हैं हर एक सिस्टम में, दैट टाइप ऑफ आईपी को हम लोग कहते हैं स्टैटिक। बिकॉज व्हाई इट इज स्टैटिक? बिकॉज ये तब तक सेम रहेगा जब तक ना अगेन द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर इज चेंजिंग दैट आईपी एड्रेस। नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज दैट हमने सारे चैलेंजेस देखा था कि अगर हम असाइन करते स्टैटिक आईपी, सो टू ओवरकम दोस चैलेंजेस इंडस्ट्री ने क्या किया? इंडस्ट्री ने एक सर्वर डिजाइन किया, जो सर्वर के थ्रू हम क्या करते हैं, मैनुअल एफर्ट्स को हम काफी कम करते हैं। And that's why what happens, this सर्वर को इंडस्ट्री ने लॉन्च किया हमारा प्रोडक्शन नेटवर्क में। क्यों किया है? सो दैट आईपी असाइनमेंट इजी हो जाए। Am I clear everyone? एंड इस सर्वर जो आईपी हमारे होस्ट को देंगे, that server is nothing but called the DHCP server, and this server is assigning IP address automatically. So today's videos, I am going to discuss about this DHCP. So guys, remember, it is a part of the system administration. And in this video, it is not possible to cover up about everything that is about the DHCP server. So here I am giving you a glimpse how the dynamic IP address has been assigned to the host in a network by the DHCP server automatically. Is it? Let's start. सबसे पहले you have to understand what is DHCP. So always एक चीज remember कीजिएगा आप लोग, everyone please remember, DHCP is a service. Please be careful. It is a service. एक सर्वर के अंदर ये सर्विस होता है. Every server operating system is equipped with several services. And whenever we install the operating system, what happens? All those services are also within the system. The thing is that as an admin, we need to configure the role so that that server can perform that specific role. Here, same way, if we install server operating system, Windows Server operating system to a system, so उसके अंदर में भी हमारे पास एक DHCP नाम का सर्विस होता है. Is it clear? The moment we add this role and we configure this role, the system becomes the server. So that means DHCP is the service, and the system which is provide this service is called the DHCP server. Am I clear? So that's why DHCP is dynamic host configuration protocol. And always remember, this is the application layer protocol of OSI reference model. After completing this IP address, I will come for a series of OSI reference model, which is the basic concept of any networking. This is the foundation topic of networking. And at that moment, I will make you clear what is application layer. So DHCP is a service of application layer of OSI model. And this DHCP uses port number 67 for server and 68 for client. In this OSI model only, I will clear you what is the port number. Right now, I can show you from where you can find this port number. So you see, everyone, be careful. If I go to a system, so this is my system, you see. This is this PC, एंड ऑफ कोर्स आप जानिएगा बाय डिफॉल्ट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इज इंस्टॉल्ड इन द सी ड्राइव एंड ओएस के लिए विंडोज इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट and in this windows we will go for system 32. This is also very important folder, and here you will get another folder that is drivers. Inside driver you will get another folder that is etc. यहाँ पे आप देखिए सर्विसेज दिखाई दे रहा. इफ यू गो फॉर दिस सर्विसेज एंड इस सर्विसेज को डबल क्लिक कीजिए एंड ओपन विथ नोटपैड एंड देन ओके. You can see over here all the port numbers are there, and here you see very carefully 67 and 68. 67 is for DHCP-S, means DHCP server, and 68 is for DHCP client, and it is a UDP based service. Is it clear? It is. So everyone, if you want to find the port number, you can find in this way. Okay. Now, come to this point. Now see, it is an UDP based service. आप देखेंगे OSI रेफरेंस मॉडल में ट्रांसपोर्ट लेयर में दो इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोटोकॉल काम करते हैं. वन इज TCP, अनदर इज UDP. हम लोग OSI मॉडल में वेरी क्लियरली समझेंगे व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन TCP एंड UDP. Okay. And this DHCP always work in the client server architecture. Is it? It is also very much important to understand the client server architecture in the networking. So after OSI, of course, I will go for another video that based on this client server architecture. Now, what is the job role of DHCP? DHCP provides TCP IP setting to the host automatically in a network. Am I clear? Now, so who is DHCP server? जो डिवाइस TCP IP सेटिंग्स दूसरों को दे सकते हैं, that server is called as the DHCP server. And what is the use of a server? That means there must be someone who is asking the services. So the device which requests for the TCP IP settings to the DHCP server is called as the DHCP client. Am I clear, everyone? That's why we call it DHCP work in the client server architecture. There are some clients in the network who are requesting for TCP IP services. That is why a server has been designated in the production network to provide the TCP IP services. Am I clear? So the IP address the server is providing, that is 100% the dynamic IP. Okay. What is the benefit? The benefit is the centralized management, because from one server we can manage it very well, which device we are assigning which IP address. Next is the saving of time, reduce manual efforts and errors. जो ह्यूमन बीइंग से दिक्कत होता था, गलती होता था, टाइपिंग मिस्टेक और रॉन्ग आईपी. एंड स्केलेबिलिटी एंड फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी. व्हाई? बिकॉज scalability for the network means if I add some host, DHCP will give the IP address automatically, and it is very much flexible. Okay. Now, what is the minimum requirement for configuring a DHCP server? So एक चीज जानिएगा, we can configure the DHCP server in a standalone mode, or we can configure a DHCP server in a domain environment. If I go for the standalone, so you have to understand, first of all, हमारे system में server base होना है. You must log in as an administrator. मशीन में एक system में आपको एक static IP address देना है. Next thing is the system should have a proper name as per the organizational need. कंपनी को ये DHCP server किस पर्पस के लिए बनाया जा रहा है, कहाँ पे डिप्लॉय करेंगे, as per the requirement एक एडमिन को उसमें एक नेमिंगक्लेचर देना जरूरी है. Next, as an admin, we have to add the DHCP server role. जो मैंने आपको बोला, जब तक हम लोग सर्वर को एक रोल असाइन नहीं करेंगे, तब तक सर्वर कैन नॉट प्ले दैट रोल. एंड कॉन्फ़िगर द सर्वर एज पर द रिक्वायरमेंट, बिकॉज एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को क्या पर्पस से लिए DHCP सर्वर बना रहे हैं, as per the requirement, the admin will configure the server. Now everyone see, suppose this is one network. This is my DHCP server, and see, this server has been assigned an IP address that, and द सर्वर को आपको स्पेसिफाई करना है कि सर्वर कहां से कहां तक आईपी क्लाइंट को असाइन कर सकते हैं. दैट वी कॉल एज ए DHCP स्कोप. एम आई क्लियर? वी मस्ट कॉन्फ़िगर ए DHCP स्कोप. स्कोप का मतलब रेंज ऑफ वैलिड होस्ट एड्रेसेस फ्रॉम व्हिच DHCP server can assign an IP address to a client device. Am I clear? But dear, always remember, it is a temporary IP. Why? DHCP assign the IP leased basis. किस बेसिस पे लीज देते हैं? Is it clear? This IP has been assigned in a leased basis. And by default, this is the default value. For the WAT network, it is 8 days. आप इसको मैनिपुलेट कर सकते हो as per the requirement. And for the wireless network, this timing of IP address is for 24 hours. Is it clear? Now the question is that how way the admin will configure the network as per the client, that totally depends on the administrator. Okay, so DHCP IPs always remember is a temporary because इस DHCP server इसको किस basis पे देते हैं? Based on the lease. Okay, now here is the question, what happens? So remember everyone, one thing खूब important, very important, that is अगर आपके DHCP server due to some reason से down हो जाता है, if it is down, then what will happen? Remember, if you go to the client and check the button obtain IP address automatically. Am I clear? Which button you will press obtain IP address automatically? That means client will start searching a DHCP server in the network. Am I clear? And remember, this concept of is called as DORA. What it is called? It is called as DORA. Do you know what is DORA? DORA has a full form: discover, offer, request and acknowledgement. Actually, एक process है. This is a process. जिस process के through a DHCP client finds a DHCP server in a network and get a TCP IP settings. I'm repeating it. DORA is a process through which a DHCP server finds, a DHCP client finds a DHCP server in the network and take the TCP IP settings. And this whole process is divided into 4 parts. First part is called the discover, second is offer, third is request, and fourth is acknowledgement. What happens? When we check the button obtain IP address automatically, so what happened? DHCP client start broadcasting in the network. Is there any DHCP server in the network? And this message is sent by the DHCP client and the name of the message is discover. And whoever in the network in the DHCP server, once receiving this message, the DHCP server offer a TCP IP settings to the client. Okay, so once the client is getting this TCP IP settings, so client becomes very happy because client को तो यही चाहिए था. तुरंत client will send a request message to the DHCP server. क्या बोलेंगे? DHCP server, I'm very happy upon getting this TCP IP setting. I need it. Please ensure me with these TCP IP settings. Then DHCP server also grant it and acknowledge. Means, okay, it's very good. Whatever the TCP IP setting I have given you, you have requested for that, so you keep it. This is an acknowledgement message from server to client. The moment client get this acknowledgement, the client start running in the network. That means the device, अभी जो client device है वो network में अभी free running हो गया. That means it can access the network resources. Am I clear? So this process actually initiated by the DHCP client. This process is not initiated by the DHCP server. So DORA is a very important concept in the interview point of view also, everyone. So be careful. If someone asks you the DORA, you must specify these 4 processes. Okay. Now, the next thing is that suppose DHCP client is requesting for the TCP/IP setting to the DHCP server. Maybe due to some reason, कुछ कारण से ये सर्वर नेटवर्क में अवेलेबल नहीं है. हो ही सकता है सर्वर इज डाउन, हो सकता है यस और नो डाउन, हो सकता है नेटवर्क डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया, यस और नो. ये भी हो सकता है डीएचसीपी का जो स्कोप है खत्म हो गया. मैंने डीएचसीपी को 10 आईपी एड्रेस देने बोला था, मेरा नेटवर्क में 15 होस्ट आ गया. तो डीएचसीपी तो इज ए डिवाइस, तो ह्यूमन बीइंग नहीं है. सो डीएचसीपी 10 आईपी देने के बाद क्या बोलेंगे, आई डोंट हैव एनी आईपी, मेरा पूल खत्म हो गया. एट दैट मोमेंट अगर कोई क्लाइंट इसको रिक्वेस्ट करता कि आईपी दो, सो डीएचसीपी सर्वर तो दे नहीं सकता है, यस और नो. इस मोमेंट में क्या होगा, बिकॉज डियर रिमेंबर वन थिंग, when we install operating system, मशीन को, सिस्टम को आईपी चाहिए. विदाउट आईपी इट कैन नॉट एग्जिस्ट. नाउ कितना क्रिटिकल सिचुएशन आया होगा सोचिए. हमारे क्लाइंट सिस्टम में ऑप्टेन आईपी एनेबल है, मतलब क्लाइंट इज रेडी दैट इट विल गेट द आईपी फ्रॉम द डीएचसीपी, but due to some disaster DHCP server is not available in the network, तो आईपी भी नहीं दे सकता है. अब क्लाइंट क्या करे. सो इस सिचुएशन में माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने एक बहुत अच्छा कॉन्सेप्ट दिया है. क्या किया है, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने अपने ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में क्या किया है, ये नेटवर्क सिस्टम के अंदर बाय डिफॉल्ट दे दिए हैं. यस, that means every operating system is equipped with this class B network. The moment client is not getting the IP address from the DHCP server, that moment client itself इस network से एक IP खुद ले लेता है. Am I clear? That means the moment client is not able to get the IP address from the DHCP server, then client itself will take an IP address from this pool, and this address is called as APIPA, automatic private IP addressing. That means what is APIPA? APIPA is an IP address. It is also an IP address. It is assigned by the host itself. ये host को कोई नहीं देता. It is assigned by the host itself. कब? When the host is unable to receive the IP address from the DHCP server. So is it clear? आपके नेटवर्क में अगर कुछ कारण से DHCP सर्वर डाउन है, don't worry, client itself will take an IP address from this network, and this address is called as APIPA. Is it clear everyone? So हम लोग कभी भी एक DHCP सर्वर के साथ अपने क्लाइंट को अगर कनेक्ट करते हैं तो हम लोग कौन सा कमांड देते, ipconfig /renew. अगर हम चाहते माय सिस्टम शुड बी डिस्कनेक्टेड फ्रॉम दिस DHCP सर्वर, तो आप क्या लिखेंगे, ipconfig /release. Am I clear? You are getting my point everyone? So always remember one thing everyone, कि in a production network it is always we find the DHCP server which is providing IP addresses to the clients. I think after watching this video you all can understand the basic concept of the DHCP, why DHCP server important, what is the job role of a DHCP server in a network, how the client get benefited by this DHCP server. So in the next video, I'm coming up with the next TCP/IP property that is nothing but my default gateway. So thank you everyone.